Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. Today is our bonus episode, our episode 5 for What If, the zombie episode. I'm joined, as always, by our co-host, Mila. Say hello, Mila.
Hello.
All right, so you just watched it. I've watched it a couple of times. Give me your overall take. Enjoy, didn't enjoy, zombies, yes, no. Talk to me.
I thought it was super cool. Like, I kind of thought there was going to be, like, zombies with superpowers, but they actually had zombies with superpowers. I don't know. I just thought it was so cool. Like, just the combination of, like, stuff you'd seen before in Infinity War mixed with, yeah, but what if there was zombies there?
Yes.
I thought it was just so cool. Like, that Walking Dead, but, like, Marvel version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I love The Walking Dead. Overall, zombies, not necessarily my thing. I appreciate them when they're done really well. I love The Walking Dead, and, of course, there's a few other things.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. It definitely wasn't my favorite, not because it's just zombies, but like, there's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of doom and gloom in this episode.
Zombies, that tends to be the thing.
There's just doom and gloom all the time.
There's only a couple shows or movies that I can think of that involve like upbeat zombie stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then, they kind of have tones where they dip a little bit.
And I think like even more so than the Avengers all kicking it, I think this one was definitely seemed a little bit more bleak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though you had Loki taking over in the last episode, there's sort of
but
like
there was
kind of
hope behind that.
Sure, right? We have Cap being thawed out. Captain Marvel was there. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And, Nick Fury is going to get a different team together and just still make it happen. But this episode, there was nothing. I mean, it was just death after death after death.
Yeah.
So
and even at the end.
Well, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. Start from the beginning.
Good idea.
And then go to and then we'll get to the very end. So as always, lots of spoilers happening. If you have not watched episode 5, zombies, what if, turn off the podcast, go watch it, come back, and we're going to spoil the heck out of it. All right?
Yes.
So start from the beginning. Of course, we have the watcher, as it were, who's narrating basically what's happening, different universe, the prism of all the multiverse, and we're seeing that what happens if zombies take over. So you basically get the explanation that Hope, right, was going in to find her mother into the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Okay, and when she finds Janet Van Dyne, she had come across a zombie virus essentially within the quantum universe.
Right.
And so Janet was already a zombie.
Or wasn't it Hank that went in?
You're right, it was Hank. I'm sorry, it was Hank. That's right, it was Hank. Then he comes out with Janet in the quantum ship,
and they're
which
both,
we saw in the T'Challa episode.
Right,
right. When the Collector had the quantum ship, which was really cool. So Janet comes out with him, and they come out together, and Hope is at the window. Right, and they come bursting through the quantum ship. Basically,
she dodges like right away.
Dodges. Boom.
Ant-Man's not so
nimble, not so quick. Does not quite get over there.
Yeah.
So he becomes a zombie, and that's basically the narration of how it now became. So what you have essentially is not only regular people zombies, but you have super powered zombies. Because superheroes, those with powers, are now becoming zombies, and they still retain. I thought that was an interesting twist.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. It's so cool that like it's not only do they have their powers, but like zombies like Tony Stark, they still have their like.
He has his suit.
It's almost like they still have their muscle memory on how to like actually combat.
Right,
like Captain America as well.
They're zombies.
Like,
they don't seem as mindless as normal zombies would be. Quote unquote normal zombies.
Like they actually, instead of just like going off of base instinct, they've got like, how is the best way that I can kill that person?
Yes,
kind of idea.
They still have their powers. They still have their sensibilities on how to use their powers.
Right.
And that becomes a big problem later on in the episode, obviously,
Quite,
towards the end, right? So you have some survivors. So this was kind of, with Peter Parker being one of the survivors, it kind of turned in. If you ever saw Zombieland?
No.
Okay, so Zombieland, great, and there was 2 of them with Jesse Eisenberg. It had Woody Harrelson. It had Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other girl's name. Anyway, not important. The point is, they're great movies. They're fun. They're popcorn movies. They're light. They're
Yeah.
comedic, zombie movies. And so Jesse Eisenberg throughout those movies gives you the rundown of how to survive a zombie apocalypse. So they pulled directly from it.
Oh,
it was,
wow.
step one, stay in shape. You know what I mean? The heavy people always get taken out
Oh,
by
I
because
think
you can't run fast enough.
I think I
to
saw
get
something
zombie.
like that. Yeah, it was like step 3,
Exactly.
cardio.
So it's rule 1, rule
Stretching.
47, things like that. So that was basically what it seemed like they pulled from right there, and I appreciate that. That was really funny. So Peter was taking us through the rules of a zombie apocalypse, which I thought was really good. And you see Happy wearing that shirt he was wearing, and
saving myself for Thor.
saving myself for Thor, and he's like they're filming a fake a fake how-to YouTube video, if you will, on how to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Because there's going to be so many people that's going to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the world is already taken out, but apparently Wakanda is still the sort of supposed to be the one last sort of like bastion for hope because they have the bubble.
Yeah.
But we'll get there near the end. So they're traveling through. They're trying to get they're trying to take it through, and they come into who? They run into who?
After that.
So they run into Hope, and they're all there, and they basically need to get out of the city.
Oh, right. Yeah,
they
so they go to a
realize-
train. They go
They go to the train.
station.
Zombies. Sharon, not Peggy. Agent
Right,
Carter's
yeah.
there, right? And they start getting picked off one by one. They
Yep.
start getting picked off. Bucky's
Happy.
there. Happy gets picked off.
Yeah, then-
one by one they start getting picked off, and they're on the
Right.
train. That's where you see the trailer shot with Cap on the train, and Bucky. He throws the shield at Bucky. Bucky catches and chops him in half and kicks him off the train.
It is interesting how like easily they're able to like shift away from like, oh no, we lost our friend, to like, okay, I'm like literally just gonna like
Just
shoot
gonna
them
move
in
forward.
the face like immediately,
I think-
which is something you have to get used to.
At that point, I think they've lost, like Peter said, he's
Yeah.
lost so many people at that point. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, well, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Where there's a few of us left, if we even have any chance of survival, we have to put that kind of crap behind us and move forward. As difficult
Yeah.
as that really would be, you have to move forward.
Because especially with like, what's her name, Sharon?
Yeah,
Carter?
Sharon Carter.
All right, yeah, especially with Sharon and Happy.
Yep.
Like she was just like with Happy and like joking around with him.
Yep.
He gets taken, bitten, starts coming after her, and she's like, turns his like blaster towards him. And she
Yep.
just goes blam. And
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, he had one of the Iron Man hands on. He had one of the suit
Yeah.
hands on, which I thought was one of the repulsors on, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they're out there. They're fighting the train station. Peter's pulling the train back basically because they need to jumpstart it. It
Yeah.
hasn't been working, so he's spiderwebs it. He's pulling it back. Zombies right in his tail. He has to jumpstart the train essentially, and they all do make it out. They make it out of the train station but they take on some stowaways, if you will.
Yeah.
some riders, some free riders. So
a couple of unwanted individuals,
Exactly, who start
including
now
Captain
coming-
America.
who start coming into the train and start causing problems, start biting again. Sharon gets taken out.
Yeah.
And then so she gets
And quickly subdued by
Right.
Hope.
Yep. And then Hope catches a nick. Right.
Yep.
Her suit gets sliced right on like basically her shoulder, and she's infected.
Yeah.
But it's slow. It's not a bite, so it's not that quick. But it's a separate infection. We've seen that before in Walking Dead. It happens slowly. It takes
Yeah.
time for the virus essentially to take over you. And to become a zombie. So she's still helping them get to where they need to be, with the idea that eventually they're going to have to put one in her head because she's going to be a problem, right? Because she has
she's like a
ability to
ticking
shrink.
time bomb. At
She
that
is,
point.
right? Because that was how essentially they were getting everybody else infected.
Right.
Because the original Ant-Man, right? And they're becoming small and flying around and biting people, and you couldn't see it.
Yeah, like a mosquito. That was
Yeah, so
I thought
that was
that
ingenious if
like
you're gonna-
opening scene with like how Captain America got like the first Avenger.
Yep.
It with that I really liked that because I hadn't thought of that
Right.
as like just a like Hank Pym just like biting
Sure.
him like he's a
There has to be that tipping point of overwhelming numbers, right? Because there's only one, right? There's Janet, there's Hank, they're the only two who are zombies.
Yeah.
And then of course Paul Rudd's character, he gets taken out. So now there's three.
Mhm.
But how do you become thousands and millions, right? That take because
bite them like mosquitoes.
right, because there's three people. You see them coming at you like a zombie. You just plug them. You're done. It's done day. You've taken everybody out.
Right.
But that virus has to keep going. You know what I mean? So if you
Yeah.
have something like that or a superpower who can go down to minuscule size and just
and
infect
just
people like
start
a
nicking
like
people, and
just
they
nicking
don't
people
even
know what's happening.
feel it. All of
Right.
a sudden they're like, oh,
Now you have thousands.
I'm not
quite,
feeling so hot.
Yeah, quite rapidly you turn into thousands.
I don't feel so good.
Yeah, they didn't feel real good. So I thought we'll continue on with the story. I thought the animation was stellar as always.
Oh yeah,
The way they made the
always
zombies.
so phenomenal. I noticed the lighting in this one was super good.
Yeah.
Like there was dark tones, but it didn't feel like too dark, like you couldn't see what was going on. Like it was very like interesting the way they did the lighting.
Yeah, lighting was astounding.
A lot of top light.
The look of the zombies was, was there. It was a little gory, but not over the top.
Yeah.
So
it's just enough. Just enough for Marvel.
Exactly. It is a Disney show.
Yeah.
It's a Disney Plus show, so there's only so far they're gonna go with it.
Yeah.
They're not gonna try to turn it into rated R. So.
Like what they did with the Hulk.
Yeah.
Exploding in quotations.
Exactly. Just all green goo, no actual innards. So that same idea. All right, so they're on the train.
They just turn into a red mist.
They get to where they're going. Essentially, they get to this like base where they feel like they're the cure. They're looking for the cure that's known to be a cure for the zombie virus. And so they go there and they find like just a wall of zombies behind a fence, not trying to attack the fence.
Right.
And then they find there's a big hole in the fence, and the zombies could easily just come on through.
But
and they're
then
just
they were
standing
just
there, waiting for nothing, right? We don't know what they're waiting for. So they go inside the bunker, and who do they find? They find
Vision.
They find Vision, who obviously can't be turned into a zombie because he's an android.
I like that they brought him into the mix because some adventures you'd go like, so where was this guy this whole time? Like, there's always that one question that will irk people.
Right, because
that would
they
be
had
a big
that
one with
question
Vision.
In Endgame, that was a huge question. I'm sorry, not in Endgame. In Infinity War, where they're all fighting Thanos, and Thanos wins. Where was Captain Marvel the whole time?
Yeah,
and they explained it in the second one. They explained it in Endgame.
But it's still like you're like, shouldn't that like didn't they say she was gonna come back for emergencies? And
right.
Like,
Thanos with all the stones was probably the biggest emergency.
Yeah.
Which is
and
that's
she was
one
like,
thing
no,
that did
I'm gonna
bug
help
me.
like, I don't know, some other planet doing whatever they're doing.
Her quote was basically like, Earth is not the only place that I have to deal with.
And you're like,
I have the whole universe
yeah,
essentially,
but this is as important as the
this
entire
threat
universe.
is it includes the whole universe, right? This threat threatens the entire universe, not just Earth.
So it's still
probably should have got our ass back there.
So like it makes sense, but it really doesn't make any sense.
Right, that was a little weird.
You're like, isn't this a little more important right now?
It was definitely more important right then, and somebody should have alerted her to that. So back to this. So yes, Vision's there. He's kind of talking, like, okay, we got this. I figured it out. It's a neurological thing.
And you're like,
I got this cure.
Yeah,
it's all good. But he still seems a little sketchy.
And you see him at first like, oh, yeah. And then it should all be like, okay, from here.
Right?
All
maybe a happy ending.
Flowers.
No chance. So,
no.
And I found this part funny. And then all of a sudden he unveils, or you hear the voice, right? You hear Scott Lang's voice, Paul Rudd. And it's like, wait a minute, he got taken out by a zombie. And they unveil, and this was, to me, a little jump the shark. I talked about this earlier with you. Is a little jump the sharky on this one. Was like he's all of a sudden he's a head in a jar. Very Futurama. It was Futurama all the way. It's like we stole that directly
I thought
from
that
there.
was like, but why?
It was just
like,
strange.
couldn't you have just not done that?
To him, like you have all these other actual living, full-bodied zombies, and you take care of Scott's head essentially in a jar.
And you're like,
maybe that's the reason because he can't fight back, right? He can stay there. He's a head.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere. But then there's like, okay, so we're already suspending the disbelief. Now you're suspending the fact that you can keep a head in a jar alive.
Yeah, it's like,
you know what I mean?
That did irk
me.
I was like,
weird.
Okay.
If there's anything strange or upsetting about the episode, I thought that was the only thing that kind of bumped me out of it, out of the story, where you're kind of like you really get engrossed in the story and you're really following along, and all of a sudden there's a head in a jar. And it takes a lot of time for your brain to adjust to what you're watching. Like, why is there a head in the jar? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that. And no, it's a superhero show. We get it. None of this is possible. I understand that. But there's
the guy who did it is like an android being thing.
But, at some point, your brain still comes up against things like, I'm already suspending a lot of disbelief. That's asking too much.
Yeah.
You're now asking too much.
Like stuff like that. It's just a touch overboard.
It is. It's that's what they call jumping the shark,
yeah,
right?
I
Do
wasn't.
you know where that comes from, by the way, jumping the shark?
Probably.
It's a Happy Days reference.
Nope.
For those who don't know what that means, jumping the shark is a television industry term now since Happy Days, which was an extremely popular show.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you start to run out of ideas. So literally at one point, there was a beach episode where Fonzie was doing water skiing with his leather jacket on, mind you, and there was a shark in the water, and he literally skied and jumped over a shark. So, like, it was like a stunt show type of deal. And he's literally skiing and like, oh my God, he's going to get eaten by the shark. And he literally jumps the shark. So he jumps himself to safety.
Yeah.
And it was like that's ridiculous. We've gone way too far. Obviously, the show needs to be shut down because you have Fonzie in his leather jacket jumping a shark. So you had that whole jump the shark thing. Like, so that's what it comes to. Like, that's about the most ridiculous thing we've ever seen. That's what jump. If anybody ever doesn't know what that is, that's what jump the shark means. Anyway, back to the episode. So a little jump the shark with the head in the jar. Okay.
Right.
So basically, we find out that the whole point of Vision doing this is he has Wanda, who is a zombie,
and he's not only just containing her, he's feeding her. So we see,
with
innocence, like
with
just
innocent
civilians.
People, you find like T'Challa's basically on a slab, but he's alive, and they're like, "Help us!" He's doing this.
And
to
if
all
you
of
notice,
us.
He's like missing a leg, so he's been like cutting off parts of his body.
Yeah, a little bit by a little bit,
Wanda.
feeding them, and because he can't. The virus, the solution, the cure won't work on her because she's too strong. Her chaos magic and what's going on inside her mind is too strong, and it's fighting off the cure.
It is interesting
so he can't
how they
save her, and she's his major love, so he doesn't want to just kill her.
Right.
So he's trying to figure out what to do.
And after seeing WandaVision, now you know it kind of goes both ways.
You get it exactly right. So
both of them would do things that are mildly unforgivable.
Yeah.
For
so
each
this
other.
is where basically the poop hits the fan, and we have to now get out of here. Because we have to get away from Wanda. She's now free. They freed her because they're like, oh, what's behind door number 3? And there she is. And like, oh crap.
And you're like, no, like again after seeing WandaVision, you're like, oh, she's really, really powerful.
She's
and now she
powerful.
doesn't have a conscience to hold her back.
Exactly.
Like,
so now she's full blown zombie, chaos magic.
Yikes.
We're doomed. So they had to get out of there, and they realized that Wakanda is basically the last bastion for humans. Only because of their shield. It's the only where humans are surviving, and they have the technology within Wakanda to send out the signal, essentially, because it's a signal they can send out to the brain that cures people from this. That's how they cured, So they have to do that.
Vision mentioned that
nobody has the
that's super
technology
important,
except for the
need.
Wakandans.
Yeah.
So they have to get to Wakanda, and they have a ship, and they got to get there. And of course, there's that whole thing. How do we get out of here? They try to get to the ship, and who shows up? Hope. Giant Hope shows up,
grabbing the quad jet.
Exactly, literally just holding onto her like a little kid with his toy.
But luckily,
as he's trying to get away.
Yeah, luckily they're able to shake her loose.
Yeah, they take
start...
the one-legged T'Challa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Limpy, as they call him. I think they were calling him. They take him and stick him in the pilot seat because it's he's the only one who knows how to fly this thing. And so they're getting out of there, and the Hulk sacrifices himself basically. Yeah.
And
he's the only one
everything's
strong enough,
nice and good, and you see them flying away off into the horizon. You're like, they go to Wakanda.
Yeah, because Bruce realized that when he has Hulk skin, it's harder for the zombies to break his skin to actually infect him.
Exactly.
But when there's thousands of them, eventually they're going to take him out.
Eventually, it's inevitable.
But then he fights. Then the Hulk ends up fighting Wanda. She busts out, and that's how they kind of get away. Is Hulk's busy fighting Wanda to keep her away from them.
In my opinion, that's probably how he's going to get bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wanda, it would definitely
at some
be
point
Wanda
her magic will overtake him, and that'll be it. And that's it. So they get away. They're flying away. They're on the Quinjet essentially, and they're flying to Wakanda. And it's almost the end of the episode. It's kind of a weird...
And you're like, hey,
oh, okay, did we do this?
There is a future for the world. Yeah. This is so cool. Look at them go.
Cut to the bubble of Wakanda, and you see all these zombies behind the bubble.
Yeah. And you're like, Wakanda's still safe.
Zombie Thanos.
It pans to zombie Thanos
with the Infinity Gauntlet.
With 4 of the stones. 4 out of 5
minus
of
the
them.
Mind Sword, which is what they're taking, right? Vision sacrificed himself again and ripped out the stone out of his own head so they could use that to use the signal to send his, the signal out to everybody to cure them. So they have the Mind Stone, and they're just basically bringing it to zombie Thanos.
Boy, are they going to get a surprise,
Oh, my God. So, there was literally no hope in this
So then
episode.
you're like, oh, nope, there's no...
Done. And that's
they're dead. They're all dead.
You don't have to see the ending. You don't have to see it happen. You know it's done. There is no alternative. There's like 3 or 4 of them left in that jet.
I want to see the zombie that bit Thanos.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about. Like, how did he turn into a zombie?
Like, it would make sense if Hulk was a zombie already, but he wasn't.
But how did Thanos?
Like, who bit him?
Because it originated on Earth.
4 or 5 stones already.
Yeah. But it originated on Earth. Like, we came from the quantum realm, and then, Janet had it and whatever.
So it had to be something on Earth that bit him.
I guess, right? But if he went to Wakanda to get the other stones, like, that explanation didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, why was he in Wakanda? Like, we know in the original series, he's in Wakanda because of Vision has the stone, and he goes there to get it, but he's not there.
Although something that is, like, it equals, it kind of, that issue equals out because of that, like, shock of like, oh my gosh, A, Thanos is here, B, he's a zombie. So like it kind of like you do have that question, but it's also that shock that kind of like goes against it. So you kind of it like dissipates. So you go, whatever.
Yeah, but see, my brain only dissipates for so long.
Yeah.
And then it circles back and goes, wait a minute.
But there was a head in a jar.
There's a head in a jar. And how did he get bit? Why is he in Wakanda since the Mind Stone's not there? Why was he there originally? Why did he, whatever he did, he blipped in, he phased in, maybe he quantum realm.
Yeah,
through,
maybe
right?
maybe some quantum ant bit
Well, that's
him,
how, I mean, like, that's
like
how he went from the future, from the past to the future, remember?
Yeah.
In Infinity War, like, that's how he got there, right? In Endgame, they had the time, they were messing with time, the time travel, and older Thanos arrives, right?
You know that Ant-Man theory that was going around before Infinity War or after Infinity War?
The one that he can go inside and explode himself?
Yeah.
Yes.
What if that happened?
That would be amazing.
That could be it.
Well, that's what happened.
Because we don't know what happened to Hank
we
or
did
anyone.
that. Sharon got exploded. Remember? Janet.
So I think
Hope went in.
I think that's
She's like,
highly
I got Sharon
likely.
all over me.
I think that's highly likely because a lot of like I think they even like said like that's possible. Like it could have happened.
It did. We just saw it happen. They just did it.
Yeah.
They actually,
but, like,
they actually did it.
Thanos.
Not with Thanos, but they did it. So that we know that
So
they can actually do that. If they can
it
do
is
that to Sharon, they
possible.
can do it to Thanos too. It's
Yeah.
no different.
So I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because we know it's like hard to, if not impossible, to bite through Thanos' skin.
Yeah.
Because it's similar to the Hulk.
Yeah.
But through that way.
Yeah, they could have. Absolutely. Hank or somebody else could have just shrunk down and gone inside and bit him, whatever, from the inside or whatever. Again, a little dirtier than I meant it, but that's basically what could have happened, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was really, so overall a good episode.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, that was a solid like
It was definitely a
a
solid
zombie episode.
I don't. Okay, so tell me this: would you like? I love to go back and rewatch, right? And I'll probably go back and rewatch the series. You know what I mean? Would you? Is that a rewatch one for you? Would you go back and rewatch that one often?
Although well, in general, I don't know if I'd rewatch this series because it would have to be like really like a lasting impact on me for me to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would rewatch this series, but I think this would be one of the episodes that I'd watch.
Okay. Yeah.
I
I
think
definitely
this
would keep
one,
this
I would
off my
rewatch
list because, like I said, I'm not a huge zombie fan, but yeah, the Sharon Carter one, the Captain Carter, I would definitely rewatch.
Yeah,
that
I'd rewatch
one.
that one. I'd rewatch this one.
I definitely would rewatch the Doctor Strange one.
Yeah, definitely that one.
Just to remember what happened.
I would skip
it's so
past
much
the
goes on.
T'Challa one.
Yeah, T'Challa one.
Because again,
it is fun.
that's
Unless you're in the
still
mood for something
pretty
light
much
and
on the
funny.
bottom of my list.
Yep. Wow.
Maybe
Yeah.
that one scene with Thanos, but other like at first.
This one probably notched above the zombie one for me. The T'Challa probably notched one notch above the zombie episode for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll be honest. And
Wow.
like I said, I thought it was a good episode, but I thought
you're
T'Challa's
not
was a
big
good
on
episode.
zombies.
I'm just
And that's
not.
fine.
I just
That's
never
fine.
have been. I don't know why. Like I said, I did watch most of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I haven't
same
watched the
here-
last
same
couple
here.
of seasons because when Rick left, it was kind of like let's cancel this now. Let's shut
Yeah.
those down.
See,
but,
I stopped watching after Glenn left.
Yeah, that was a rough watch.
That was a rough.
That was a rough beating he took.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was harsh. So
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So enjoy the episode. That was great. So I definitely. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the next one is. I'd
Yeah.
have to look it up. I don't know if they've said what the next episode. I think
guess
we only
we'll
have
see
3
what
left,
happens.
right?
Yep.
Is that right? Let me just double check. I think there's only
So
I wanna say
2
there's
normal
only 8.
ones, and then I assume one last one is going to be like
Yeah,
Avengers
I think you're right.
Assemble.
I think you're right. I think there's going to be that full on team one, if you will, the Avengers version of it, if you will.
Do you have any theories on how it's going to end? Do you think they're going to go into one of the worlds and try to save it? Or do you think a new issue is going to arise?
Oh, that's a good question. Are they going to bring everybody together as one? Yeah, I want to say I think they're going to bring a lot. Like somebody's going to bring the other people from the different universes into one. Maybe not completely.
Do you
I don't
think
they're gonna
into a
combine
world that
them.
we've seen before, or is it going to be a world like a new world?
I'd like it to be a new one.
Same here,
Yeah,
because
no.
I've enjoyed these other worlds, like the Loki one is possible, the zombie one, but I would actually really like to see a new world.
And that's
they
something
go
we haven't
into.
talked about yet is the worlds, because the worlds are pretty important for every different one of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love how much they play with what could happen. Because like yes, that's the whole idea of the show is like, what if this happened?
Right.
But I absolutely love the way they think out everything, like or at least most things.
Yes.
Like they go, how would this affect these people? How would it affect this one? Like what? Like, but how would this affect that? Like it's just everything about it, like it just plays together so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For each world.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's been so thought out and thought through. So I'm reading on IMDb. There's 9 episodes total for this season, and the season 2 has already been. We've seen 5, so we have 4 left now. Episodes 6, 7, and 8 have no description. It asks if you want to add a plot to it. However, 9 does. I'll read it to you. In an alternate timeline, Vision becomes an all-powerful android known as Infinite Ultron when merged with rival android Ultron. Now, it's up to the newly formed Guardians of the Multiverse to put an end to his reign before it's too late. So there's your group, right? It's not Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Guardians
of the Multiverse.
So I think it has a picture of T'Challa. It looks like it has Gamora, but I think who knows if it's just the Guardians or if the other people will come in to help out as well.
Yeah. So it's like say T'Challa and
a Thor, Tony Stark, or who knows who'll come in, but
or like some of our vanilla Avengers we've seen before.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's obviously still universes where they exist, where Cap still exists and things like that. So they could be grabbing them from
I bet
there's
going to
be
them at one point there's going to be Captain America talking about Captain Carter and going, huh. Interesting.
Now that's Britain's ass right there. That's Britain's ass right there. Fantastic. That was awesome. All right. Awesome. Great. All right, Mila. So thank you as always. That was a great recap. So everybody go and enjoy What If. Zombie episode.
Great show. Zombie episode. Really love it.
Really is. So I want to thank everybody for listening. You can find us online at entertainmentrants.com. We're on all social media as Entertainment Rants and on Twitter as Entertain Rants. Feel free to drop us a line and let us know what you'd like us to rant about. If you'd like to be a guest host on the show, feel free to drop us a line there as well. And we always appreciate a review. So if you'd like to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts, I know, oddly enough, I thought Stitcher does not do.
Really?
Or Spotify does not do reviews.
No, Spotify doesn't do
Apple
reviews.
does. So we'd always appreciate a review on there, and we'll read it on the show.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, everybody, go out there and start ranting. Bye, Mila.
Bye-bye.